This is the second in a series of videos on the subject of Configuration Management, or CM, designed to provide a grounding in the subject and to allow those of you who are either about to start doing development or have recently started to understand what it's all about and how important it can be to projects. In our last video, we looked at requirements management and how modern CM tools can be used to capture user requirements and store them atomically in a database with a requirements workflow. Having recorded what our new project is supposed to do, we now come to the next stage, defining the architecture to be used in the planning phase. Few projects, when they become systems, operate in isolation. Most require to either accept data from one or more other systems and pass formatted data out either directly to users or to other systems. Modern systems are likely to be part of a larger ecosystem, and this will have been specified in the requirements phase. The planning stage should occur before the first line of code is written, and great thought should be put into the technologies that are going to be used and the way the system should be structured. There is nothing worse than not thinking far enough ahead and delivering the first phase to the customer only to discover that the project requirement suddenly changes direction, or something critical is discovered to be missing, requiring a major redesign. Think it as being all about the data. What data is the project to operate on? How should it be stored and manipulated? Is it likely to be reported on? Have reports being added to the requirement? Are we to feed this data onto another system? In thinking through these questions, it should help solidify in your minds the parts of the requirements which are as yet undefined. The requirements provided by users rarely define how data is to be stored or internally manipulated. They usually concentrate on inputs and outputs and what users will see or be able to query on screen. So expect, during this planning phase, to add considerably to the list of requirements in your requirements management system. These will be the technical requirements, probably of little interest to the users, but these will be the dependencies for the user requirements and will be the foundation for your project. Depending on the project, you may need to purchase either physical hardware or extend virtual server systems, or perhaps add to your cloud infrastructure. Does the requirement require a specific type of database? Will it need to be exceptionally performant or capable of storing vast amounts of data? As well as obtaining answers to these questions, you will also need to think about the personnel for the project. Have we enough staff with the right skills to deliver this on time? If not, then contract staff may need to be employed to fill the resource gap. What programming and database tools will we need to obtain that we do not already have? Have we the resource to deliver within the customer's timescales? Are the timescales realistic? At the end of the planning stage, you should have filled out the gaps in the technical requirement and have decided on the programming languages and tools to be used to deliver the project. At this point, the requirements should be reviewed in order to prepare your time boxes. Time boxes are collections of the atomic level requirements used to define the order in which development occurs. Some methodologies refer to these as sprints or phases, where there is a defined calendar period during which these requirements will be worked on. Ideally, there should be some flexibility in the approach, as often a requirement that appears fairly straightforward to complete turns out to be anything but simple once the developers start coding. Such problematic requirements can have a cascading effect on the project, and may even be moved to a later sprint or phase to allow more time to complete them. Involving developers during the planning phase is recommended. Firstly, to allow them an overall view of the project and to hopefully uncover any problematic requirements, as well as estimating the time to complete each of them, as only the developers who will write the code can accurately estimate how long each requirement will take to code. At the end of the planning stage, the project manager or their team should be able to put together a timeline for the project, taking into account the time estimated for each sprint or phase. This project plan timeline will be a living document, being updated as the project progresses, and a measure of whether the project is on time or running behind. Expect weekly review meetings where progress is assessed and decisions made on resourcing and timescales. Some requirements may need additional staff during the project, and other requirements that turn out simpler to do can release staff back to the pool of resource. At this point, the project should now be ready for the development phase, which we'll cover in the next video. That's it for today. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching today's video. Please feel free to click on the link in the description below to discover more videos.